Hello and welcome to Hank Games Without Hank. My name is John Green. I'm the manager of the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys, who today are taking on Exeter City. It's a college town, Exeter. And we're going to beat them. We're going to humiliate them. We are going to lay our opponents before us, and we are going to slaughter them. I don't want to exaggerate, but they will emerge from this experience feeling like they should probably just retire. We're a little bit tired, and we're starting our B team today because we've got a big game coming up against Newcastle in the FA Cup, Premier League side Newcastle in the FA Cup. We've had a pretty favorable FA Cup draw since our stunning victory over Liverpool Football Club. We came from behind against QPR, and now we're going to have to play Newcastle. It's bad, but it could be worse. So today I'm going to talk about a topic, a Project for Awesome topic suggested by Project for Awesome donor Dylan. A great topic that is of much interest to me, how to relieve and treat depression. So I've lived with depression at various times in my life. Oh my gosh, did you see that run from St. Luce? The patron saint of lost! Oh. St. Luce. St. Luce. That could have been better. That could have been better since you were completely away. It's disappointing there. But yeah, I've lived with depression at various points in my life, and I've been, for long stretches of my adult life, have had medication, and I've been in therapy since almost like 13 years now. So yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. I mean, I think, the studies are pretty, there's pretty good studies around depression. And those studies do indicate that there are two treatments that work, cognitive behavioral therapy and medication, and that they work best when they're used together. This is particularly true when it comes to treating like acute depression. The problem is it's really hard. Really hard. I don't want to minimize how hard it is to get to the point where you're actually taking medication and the medication works, and you're seeing a therapist and the therapy works. And getting to that point is especially hard when you're depressed, because it's really freaking hard to do anything, let alone like put up with the all the times when the therapy, isn't working right, or the medication isn't right, or the side effects are too much to take, or whatever it is. Like, it's a really difficult disease to treat, and it's, and that's particularly problematic for people who are depressed, because, it's just physically, oh, John Green, you're a finisher, you're better than that. It was a great cut. Let's look again at the cut. Really good. Oh, that was a great cut. But then I think maybe he just tried to do a little too much, a little too fast. Like in my own life with depression, a lot of times I can't even like engage in like basic social tasks. Like calling someone on the phone or responding to a phone call, let alone like going through the kind of activism that's necessary to schedule with a therapist, or to go see my doctor and talk about the fact that my medication doesn't seem to be working, or whatever it is. So I think that's the biggest, or the sort of the first hurdle, not the only hurdle certainly, but you have to do that, and you have to do it with the knowledge that it can work. And that's the number one thing that I would say. People get better. And the fact that other people have gotten better is an indication that you too can get better. It is not an easy disease to treat. It is not uncomplicated. It is not, without its it can be a bit of a moving target when it comes to treating depression, I think, but it is possible. And like, that's really important, because one of the things that I struggle with, at least, is that feeling of hopelessness. Like, well, what's the point of doing this anyway? Because it won't work, because nothing's ever worked, because, and that's obviously, that's the depressed mind talking. That same mind that tells you like, oh, what's the point of doing anything, because everything's going to come to nothing anyway, so I'm just going to do nothing. I've had that thought more times than I'd care to admit. And I've had to like cycle through those obsessive thinking patterns about like, you're you know, yeah, like basically the this is going to be forever thinking pattern. Is what, you know, the famous viral video, David After Dentist. There's this 7-year-old kid. His name is David. He goes to the dentist, and he gets very intoxicated from the drugs that they give him. And afterwards, his dad films him as he asks a lot of questions about what's going on with his anesthesia because he's clearly very confused. And at one point, David says, "Is this going to be forever?" One of the things I really struggle with, another 0-0 halftime draw. What is our problem, Meredith? Another thing I really struggle with is that feeling of like, well, this is going to be forever, and there's nothing that I can do to treat it, and I'm just going to have to, and this is it. This is my life forever. That's wrong. That's like that's your crazy brain talking. But it is a really powerful idea, and I certainly like. Yeah, I struggle with that still. But so I mean, yeah, what I would say is it's not going to be forever. It doesn't have to be forever. And you don't know what the future looks like. All we know is that this too shall pass, both the good and the bad. And so don't tell forever what's going to be forever, because you don't know. You know, you don't. Oh no! It's a disaster. He used to be a swoodly pooper, I think. Sircombe. Anyway, did you see how ugly Ryan Gosling's hair is? This is a disaster. I mean, it doesn't really matter because we're going to win League 2, but I'd like to finish the season undefeated. Exeter City. How are we losing to Exeter City, Meredith? This is no way to prepare for Newcastle. This is worrisome. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, Boise. Okay, everybody stay calm. Nice through ball! Oh, you've got to finish! Oh, other John Green with the fantastic vision to... Oh, I was offside anyway. With the fantastic vision to pass, but then it all comes to nothing like so much effort in this world. Yeah, so I think, you know, like I'm a big believer in like paying attention to the science and like what the randomized control trials say, and they say pretty clearly, get behavioral therapy. You know, and that, I mean, like me being able to say, like, this is not going to be forever. Are we seriously going to go down by 2? Me being able to say this is not going to last forever is a direct result of behavioral therapy. Like, that's literally a tool that I learned in therapy. And there are a lot of them, but that's the biggest one for me. And then, like learning how to, like, kind of shut down that obsessive thinking spiral that's, you know, really takes you over. And I'm not saying I can do that 100% of the time, but I can do it enough that I can manage my, you know, I can manage my life, and I can still have, you know, joy in my life and stuff. So, yeah. And I as far as the medication goes, like so many people have been like, oh, you won't be able to write, and like that's just not true. I just don't buy that at all. Like I think like treating an illness doesn't make you a bad writer. Oh, John Green. No, let's go score another goal, boys. It's not enough to get 1. All right, I'm worried about. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to take out John Green, Nay Bennett now because I need him to start against. We have nobody. Look, this is just an exhausted team. I'm going to do something a little unusual, Meredith. I'm going to bring on Borg Warner, Warner Chilcott as our. I'm going to put him in goal. No. I need Seb Brown to be. I'm gonna switch him out with Hell's Pals. No, Hell's Pals. Let's pitch him out with yeah, Bamba. All right, there we go. Nice. Nothing like putting your backup goalkeeper in the center of midfield as a statement about your intention to win the game. There he is. I know he's going to be great at this. But we just, as you can see, the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblys need players. We need them desperately. And there he is on the ball. Let's see how he is. Oh, he's very bad. Wow. He's a slowpoke. He's about, I would say, my skill level. If you put me in FIFA, I might be about Warner Chilcott level. Get to the ball. Get down. Oh, that's frustrating. All right. Yeah, so but you just like I think you have to have faith in the science, and then I don't buy any of those arguments that like it's going to make you a less creative person or whatever. That hasn't been my experience at all. There are many times in my life when I haven't been able to write anything because of my depression, and when I've been on medication, I've found that I've been able to write much better. So I just don't buy that argument. I might be wrong, of course, but that's my experience. What was there a penalty? Was there a... Have I been penalized? What was I penalized for? Being such a great player? Being so good-looking? I don't understand. All right. Anyway, we're here in the 80th minute, and we got to find a way to win. So that's that's all I can say to encourage you. And then the last thing that I would say is that if you have any, suicidal ideation, any kind of like thoughts of suicide, take that seriously. It's not. It doesn't necessarily. I'm not going to say that it necessarily means that it's a life-threatening emergency, but it can, and it's worth taking seriously. I'm not going to wait to celebrate this goal because that's too important. And if you Google suicide, the first result will take you to the National Suicide Hotline Center, and you can always call. Now that we have done that, I would just like to announce that in the 85th minute, after being down 1-0, having substituted our goalkeeper out for our backup goalkeeper, we suddenly find ourselves in a situation where we're crossing a ball into the box, and who should meet at the end of that cross but tiny little Yabamba? And what should he do other than head it in so that we can complete our comeback? Yabamba! Yabamba! Just scored a goal! Just scored a goal! Just scored a goal! Yabamba! Oh, I thought he was going to do it again. But he didn't. That would have been amazing. I could have gone straight into like 4 verses of it. Oh. Yeah, so I just lost I lost a acquaintance and colleague to suicide recently, and sorry to change voice so dramatically, but I was just thinking about Ned. It sucks, and like you gotta fight it. I know that it's hard. I know that it sucks, but you have to. So that's all I'd say. But I am pleased that Wimbly. Oh, we're so tired. Look at that. Whose leg is dragging? Who's hurt? Somebody's hurt. Anyway, we'll get it fixed up. We'll get everybody fixed up and rested up for the Newcastle game. Congratulations to the AFC Wimbledon Womblys coming from behind for the second time in the last few weeks, showing some spirit, showing some fight. I like it. Sorry, Exeter City, but you got Wombleyed. Oh, it's Frampton comes alive is hurt. That's worrisome. Best wishes.